everyone, this is Bob Martin, the RC sub guy with the NautilusDryDocks.com. We're out at the highly secret testing facility trying out the new drive system for this permit RC submarine that we are getting ready to ship out on Monday. This is running a 3.5-inch sub driver, and I wanted to take the opportunity to show you how this works because it's configured for what we call snort, which is a quasi-dynamic diving ballast system that is exceptionally reliable and simple. So let's just show you how this works. This particular cylinder is set up with a remote on-off switch. So I'm going to power on my transmitter and the unit. So now this is fully functional. You can see the servos are working there. We got throttle. So I'm going to dump this in the water. And the way this is going to work, there's a servo inside the ballast tank, and once it is activated, the vent opens up and water will enter the ballast tank. So I'm going to do that right now. So the ballast tank is filling up with water, cylinder's getting heavier, and there you go. This tank is now completely filled with water. You can see that in there right now. Now, you drive around in submerged trim and you're having a great old time, but now you need to get the boat back up to full surfaced trim. This is the snorkel intake, and this connects to a large long brass tube that sticks up very high on the submarine. So the only thing that needs to be above the surface of the water is the very tip of that periscope or mast, and that's where the water is drawn into. So now I'm going to hit the blow cycle on this, and you're going to see the pump pull air in from the surface and blow it into the tank. So you can see that water getting displaced. The cylinder is sitting higher and higher in the water. The beauty of the snort system over the semi-aspirated system with the snorkel valve is you don't have the complication and potential failure points of a snorkel valve or a safety float valve. So it's very, very simple, very, very reliable. And what that basically means is your boat is always operating with a very small degree of positive buoyancy. So if there's ever an issue, eventually in theory it would find its way back up to the surface. So what we're going to do, I'm going to empty the last of the water out there. We're going to throw this in the boat, and we'll show you how we've got it trimmed out and drive it down in the water a little bit. All right, we got the cylinder installed, and it was a nice, easy installation. This is actually a really beautiful boat. The entire cylinder basically drops in from the back, goes down. There's a little orienting pin, strip of Velcro, and it's locked in place. Can't move, and it can't come out. Do I have this turned on now? I do. You can see our dive planes in operation there. We've got our rudders, our throttle, nice and smooth, and that's basically the core operations of the submarine. So we're ready to throw the top on and get it in the water. All right, now that we have seen this boat in the water, let's take a look at basically everything else that is going to come with it, and a little bit more about how it works. Again, here is the hull. This was a product from HMK Creations, I believe, a company based out of Canada. Did a great job. It's a beautiful little boat. This is the snorkel intake, as I had mentioned before, and basically it comes straight out just like that. It's going to come with a huge array of masts, periscopes, a spare remote on-off switch, and this is obviously the business end, and we talked about that before. I'm going to go into a little bit more details so that you can see how it works, and more importantly, this will be for the new owner so they understand how the cylinder is set up, what all the components are, and how everything works. To gain access to the cylinder, you're going to want to pop these hoses off, these air hoses, and they just slip off. I want you to note that these nipples are marked with in and out, as is this manifold right here, in and out, and this hose here goes up to the mast intake, as we talked about before. This is the forward battery compartment. The end caps just pop off just like that. Here is the main drive battery. I'm going to disconnect everything here. So we got a 3300 milliamp lithium polymer battery pack, remote on-off switch. The battery gets plugged into the remote on-off switch. The on-off switch gets plugged into the model. Do not leave this remote on-off switch plugged into the battery for an extended period of time, let's say a couple of days, because it does draw a small amount of current and it will deplete the battery, and once it does, the battery is shot and you can't use it anymore. In the back of the boat, you're going to use a flat-headed screwdriver, and you're going to use these holes to insert, twist, and you're going to work your way around the perimeter of that end cap until you can pry it out all the way. Be gentle. It takes a little bit of time and a lot of pressure. That's a nice tight seal. And here is the equipment tray slid out. This plugs into the power cable that comes from the forward battery compartment. That just pops off. Oh, I'm going to try to do this one-handed. Just like that. And if we take a look at all of the individual components, we've got some battery, or a servo cable coming in from the ballast servo, and if we take a look at the inside, that's how that's set up. Connects to the output right here, which is the only empty one, so you know which one to use. Take a look at all of the individual components that we've got going on here. We've got our servos for our rudder and our rear dive planes. We've got our electronic speed controller, our receiver. Then underneath here we've got a battery eliminator, a voltage regulator that gives power to our receiver. We've got the main air pump right here. It blows our ballast, and that's got its own microprocessor controller on the back. This is a remote switch that turns the electronic speed controller on and off. Don't worry about it. Don't use it. You don't need to worry about it. If we take a look at the bottom here, this is the receiver cable. Gets fastened to this stud. The stud goes outside, is connected to this, and this is your receiver antenna. This gets stretched out along the inside of the hull once the cylinder is inside. You stretch it out as long as you can make it. And that's going to improve your reception. But that's basically it. This is a nice, simple setup, and it works really, really well in the submarine. One thing to note, as you're sliding this equipment tray back into the cylinder, make sure you don't trap any wires or hoses between that equipment tray and the inside cylinder face. And if you push this in, you'll notice that there are some marks on here. The center mark aligns to this mark right here, so I'm just going to give it a little twist, and then we're going to push that in until it seats snugly and those marks line up.